Perfect. All right. Well, welcome to Sarah Homework. And today I'm reviewing the Charlie Brown meets the Great Pumpkin. I seem pretty sure that's the title, but the Charlie Brown Halloween special. And today we have with us Ben Howard. Hello. Say everyone.
Hello.
Yes. I was really debating what was my first spooky movie for spooky season, and I definitely wanted to go with a classic. And so I wanted to pick this one because I know that you haven't seen it, and I'm
No.
definitely super excited that I get to go down this journey of watching Halloween movies with you. And we're definitely gonna do Signs. I'm so excited for
Yes.
Signs.
Not really a Halloween movie classically, but scary nonetheless. And I love Signs. I can't wait till we get to this. But I'm actually pretty sure the title of this is It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that's it. And oh my gosh! And Linus is just such a pure soul in this little
I know.
episode, which is so cute. Oh my gosh! What were your first thoughts about this little special?
I mean, right out of the gate, you just have like that classic Peanuts gallery score. It's so great, which it's weird. I grew up with the Peanuts books. So like all the comic strips they made into all the books and all of that. So I actually never watched any of the Peanuts video or like video content at all. But I hardcore grew up with knowing all these characters and this world and all of it because I owned every Peanuts book and would spend hours as a kid just sitting there reading the Peanuts gallery books. It's actually pretty advanced stuff for kids, which we'll get into in a bit. I have written down, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great scenes that can really make it hard to pick your favorite scene out of this tiny little special that it gave us. There's so much that happened, like the trick-or-treating, from the Halloween party to Linus and Sally sitting in the pumpkin patch to Snoopy and the Great Baron. And it just feels so much longer than it actually is. But personally,
Yeah.
my favorite...
I'm pretty sure you just named every scene that was in it. That's how short this was.
It really, my favorite scene is always going to be classic Snoopy. I love when he's just going against the Great Baron. And that's my favorite scene, hands down. What was it for you?
My favorite scene is also Snoopy, but it's Snoopy at the piano with Schroeder when he's getting really into the music and kind of conducting it. But then when the music gets sad, Snoopy starts crying, and then he gets happy again when it is like upbeat, which is funny because I always, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I always used to cry when like sad songs came on. Like there's like a specific song by the band Chicago that just wrecked me every time. And and I related to Snoopy in that moment very much. Yeah, Snoopy's the best character in Peanuts, hands down. He just is. Like, and he that scene with him and Schroeder, who Schroeder is a genius, I get. Like the kid's Mozart and he's like 10. So that's, I don't think it's really appreciated that like young Hans Zimmer is basically in like Peanuts gallery.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's just, and I love that just all of the characters are just in all of, like, in this whole special too. Like from Pigpen to Sally to obviously like Lucy, and oh my God, I think that all that was missing was probably the little bird who's probably in this special.
No Woodstock. Yeah. You also on Pigpen, I just made a note of this because it just occurred to me. I'm a comic. I have a warped mind. I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but I don't really care. Is Pigpen just constantly dirty, or do they have a homeless friend? Like, is that this is like, because I don't think we ever see Pigpen's house. But it's just, why is that kid dirty? I don't know. He's just constantly dirty. What a weird character.
I think it's funny because it is also just like, I feel like there was that one kid. We all knew that one kid that just, you
always
know,
had grime on his face.
Yeah, like there's always that kid that was Big Ten. Like, I thought it like was hilarious when he was just like, I bet you couldn't tell it was me, guys.
Yeah. Like, well, that trail of dust behind you says otherwise. I shop at Walmart every Saturday for groceries. I see a bunch of pig pens running around every week.
Oh my God, it never fails.
My town's full of pig pens.
It's definitely on the nose of just making sure they had every single like archetype in this special. That I'm glad they didn't miss Charlie Brown's misfittedness, like from like I got a rock, and his ghost costume just looks completely like messed up, like all these spots.
Can we talk about I got a rock, classic Charlie Brown line, but who are these parents that are going out of their way to give Charlie Brown a rock? It's coordinated because all of these parents are giving Charlie Brown, just that one kid, a rock. They give other kids are coming up to the door, Snickers, Kit Kat, gumdrop, rock.
Big
what?
Boxes.
They all got together at a parent-teacher conference and were like, fuck that kid. Like, we're giving him rocks. We're giving him rocks this year and every year.
Good grief. Oh my God. I loved all the one-liners in this movie where it's just like,
oh yeah,
with Lucy, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna wear the costume that's the complete opposite of what I am, and she's like a witch.
Lucy, it's amazing to look back on this. This was a children's program. I mean, Lucy is an awful person. She's an awful human being. She's mean to everyone, belittles everyone, constantly tricking Charlie Brown with the football. Although that gets into the territory of like fool me once type territory, because Chuck, what are you doing? But I mean, she's done that to you maybe 1,000 times.
She wrote it. It was in writing, but wasn't notarized.
Well, yeah, you got to look for that notary on those contracts, especially when it's someone who has foiled you 1,000 times with the same trick.
Oh my
ridiculous.
God. She's definitely my least favorite character in this special, which is kind of hard because
she's a bully.
Lucy and actually like Sally for some little reason, because she was just like, you wait for Halloween, and like I just sat here, like she's like in love with like Linus, but it's just like you ruined it. But Lucy redeemed herself because she went to go get her little brother at like 4 a.m.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sally was a spoiled little brat throughout this whole thing. She wants to go do Halloween, go do tricks or treats, which is, I feel like, I don't know if they wrote that because it was little kids missaying it, or if back then they just called it tricks or treats. But she wanted to go do Halloween. They included her in Halloween. And then suddenly, no, I'm going to stay with my fake boyfriend who believes in pumpkin Santa. And then she gets mad at him when that doesn't pan out, because apparently the idea of a pumpkin rising from a pumpkin patch, she bought into that. But whatever. She was bitchy throughout this whole thing, and I didn't care for it.
No, they're definitely not as good as my favorite character, which was Linus, because I just loved how so pure he was. Like from the and even when he was getting yelled at by Sally, he was just like, nothing like a scorned woman. But then he bounces back, and at the end he's like, he'll come back. Maybe I'll go to a different pumpkin patch. Maybe it's somewhere else. And he is just, his face stays strong, and he's like, he knows that people think he's weird, but it's just he doesn't care. And that's what I think is beautiful about, like, even when they're putting him down and they're just like, no, he, Santa, he's got these more believers in him, but no, I got him. I got Great Pumpkin. I got you.
Three things to never bring up in conversation: politics, religion, and the Great Pumpkin. We all know this.
That's a great quote. That's great.
That's going to probably go into my answering that question, best quote or favorite quote of this. Can I also say, are there pumpkin patches in the wild? Like, where do pumpkins grow naturally? Like, are there pumpkin patches naturally in the world? I don't know if this is a thing, or if it has to be done by a old couple in their backyard in Iowa.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, but they would have to be pumpkin patches out in the wild. I would have to assume.
Where do pumpkins grow naturally? These are things I don't know.
I don't know. That's probably where the great pumpkin shows up.
To that. Yeah, probably should have Googled the answer to that before I brought it up live on the show. But, it's really not something I think too far ahead about. So.
But you know what? Those pumpkin questions are very directed towards real questions that we want to know and answers we need, because pumpkins, I love pumpkin. I know it sounds weird, but I will only really eat like pumpkin seeds, but I don't like pumpkin pie because I feel like it's like doesn't taste like real pumpkin. It's weird.
Okay, one thing about that, you're insane. You eat pumpkin seeds, but you don't eat pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing I've probably ever heard in my life. That's crazy. Pumpkin pie has to be the best. I'm not really a sweets guy, but pumpkin pie and the pumpkin cookies with the chocolate chips in them, they're like the best thing that have ever happened to America. I'm putting that above democracy.
I don't know, cause like working at Starbucks, pumpkin spice latte is just like so crazy, and then you just like kind of just get over it, and like especially like once you've made your 1,000th pumpkin spice latte, it's just the hype is gone. I don't know.
I can imagine. So I think keep pumpkin out of coffee. I don't think pumpkin spice needs to go in coffee. That's unnecessary. I think we have good pumpkin pie. We got those pumpkin cookies. And other than that, I don't really see what pumpkin needs to be doing other than just being jack-o'-lanterns in front of houses.
Yeah, I mean, pumpkins are great though when they're being used to carve. I've actually personally never carved a pumpkin in my life. I want to do it this year. I've never carved one. I think it would be fun.
Seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, because remember when like Lucy was putting all the paper down, and like it seems, obviously we expect it to be messy, but I mean, it's the same thing with me in gingerbread houses. I just don't really think to like carve a pumpkin or build a gingerbread house. Like, I don't know if that is odd.
It definitely seems. Yeah, no, it definitely seems more like, along the lines of like a gingerbread house, where it seems like something we all see in movies, and that's the idea of what everyone does that no one actually does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Christmas caroling, carving a pumpkin, making a gingerbread house.
Building snowmen? Who's doing that?
What?
Really? Who's building a snowman? Ever? That seems like so much work. It's ridiculous. I have seen snowmen out here in the Midwest. You'll drive by in the winter. You see a rogue snowman. They don't look like they do in the movies. They don't. It's a sad, very narrow snowman that just has it's very quickly. It definitely looked like something the kids wanted to do and they got bored very quickly. And he has no midsection really. It's awful. Yeah, it never really looks like you think it's going to.
Yeah,
snow angels. I don't think people even do snow angels. That's not real.
It's not. I don't think it's real. Oh my God, no. But I do definitely want to, if I carve my own pumpkin this year, I want to make my own pumpkin seeds, like toast my own pumpkin seeds. That would be amazing. I think that would be delicious. That would be great. I had another question I wanted to bring up. So what was your favorite, like, I guess, Charlie Brown trope that like got used in this special? Because I know you brought up a couple, but what, like, I know you said like the being on the piano was your favorite scene, but what was your favorite like Charlie Brown like?
Yes. Ism.
Yeah.
My favorite Charlie Brown ism, probably Snoopy, as the World War I fighter pilot against the Red Baron. That was always a fun little. Snoopy's imagination in this show is great. My favorite moments are when he's typing at his typewriter on top of his doghouse. That's probably my favorite. When I picture Charlie Brown, the Peanuts gallery, I picture Snoopy typing away, or just Snoopy on top of his doghouse. I think that's just such a classic Charlie Brown look to it. So I'd probably put him versus the Red Baron. It's classic. You see it come back time and time again. He never wins, always gets shot down, but he always he always gets back up on his Sopwith Camel, which is the very specific name of the warplane that he flies.
Yeah.
And again, this gets me into the very adult themes that are covered in all throughout the Charlie Brown universe, because things like World War I, he's, first of all, not even to two, just one, World War I, flying, like shot down, crawling through enemy territory in France. That's such a, like, children. This is for children. Like, it's hilarious that they're bringing
like,
this stuff.
He's just behind enemy lines. Like, no big deal,
Yes. And also, I think my other favorite Charlie Brown trope, which is unavoidable no matter what you're doing with Charlie Brown, is the highly sophisticated language, grammar, and sentence structure that these children are using. It's hilarious. None of them talk like children, especially when you're reading it as the written word, like you do with the comics. They are clearly penned by a very intelligent, well-spoken individual, and so these children are speaking at like professor levels of grammar, being like 8 to 10 years old. It's hilarious. I think when Sally realizes she's been duped by Linus, not that he knew he was duping her, grabs onto him and says, "I am owed restitution." What? Like, what 8-year-old child even knows how to spell, yet alone say restitution? Like, it's hilarious to me just how advanced these children are speaking. I don't even talk like that, and I write. Like, it's ridiculous. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite parts about Charlie.
Lucy bringing up like, oh, it wasn't notarized, and just like the way that.
Yeah, exactly. I have here a contract. You're like, what?
Oh my God!
Like,
yeah,
it's great. Yeah, and Linus, like, no fury like a woman scorned. Like, what are these? What are these kids learning in 3rd grade?
Oh, yeah,
I love it, actually. I think children should be speaking like that. I think the world would be a better place if 10-year-olds did have that diction. I think that would be fantastic.
So it would be much, much different. Less twerking, more working. For sure.
Yeah, there'd be less tweeting. Yeah, tweets would have to be, they'd have to be at least 500 characters a tweet, because you wouldn't even be able to spell out half these words in a tweet.
Definitely.
Not enough.
Those, yeah, like, I'm so glad that these tropes definitely got like used and still got used. I think one of my like favorite examples of it, I guess, is I just making fun of Charlie Brown, but still making him feel included. I loved how they used his head as the model for the pumpkin that they were carving.
Yeah.
But it always turns around to where they still always make him feel included, which is what I think I love of one of the messages of Peanuts, is just like, yeah, they may like rag on each other, but they still always come together to, make sure you don't feel alone in your together in the togetherness, which is what I love. Yeah, so we're gonna do grades now. But expectations actually for me going into this, I really was expecting yeah, Charlie Brown, it's amazing. It's been around forever. It's iconic. But I really just kind of expected more of like a B minus, like C kind of TBH,
Right,
because
right.
it's a Halloween special. Like, you don't really expect them to put much work into it. You don't expect them to put so many different events in such a small special. But it moved from a B minus C to actually just like a solid like B for me, because there's just so much that is depicted on a Halloween night, adding also with the Great Pumpkin, which is iconic now. But it's not a full A for me, because I was just kind of feeling that the Great Pumpkin didn't get really much like payoff. It did, but like I know at the end he was like super frustrated, but still hopeful, which was great. But I was expecting more in a payoff of like the Great Pumpkin, which is why I was so disappointed and gave it a B.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Zero payoff, zero. I mean, which you kind of got to expect. It's like, you read the Great Pumpkin's not real, so you're never gonna get that. But there's no payoff even morally for Linus. Like it's just like life sucks, and then you fall asleep in a pumpkin patch in 30-degree weather. Sorry, buddy. Like that's kind of so. I do share your sentiment with that for sure. I'll join you in B territory. That sounds good. A B. That was my biggest thing. I remember thinking that. I was like, there's no payoff to this at all. He had a shit night. He fell asleep with a little blanket over him and winter outside, and and that's it. The end for Linus. It's a bummer. And honestly, looking back, this made me really look back on Peanuts Gallery and the whole thing, and reading it as a kid. And even the moral of this story is this is a great series for children, because I feel like this whole series really prepares children for just how disappointing life can be. That's like Peanuts in a nutshell. Is like, people are going to shit on you. Like, nothing turns out the way you hoped. Maybe you can get some cheap therapy while you're at it. That's what Lucy's psychiatric help 5 cents, which wasn't in, but it's in all of the rest of Peanuts. It's like that. It's so hilarious that this was for children, and time again, no one's achieving goals. Everyone's getting crapped on, and everyone's either being made fun of or put down, or just kind of learning the hard way that life throws you curveballs. That's like all of the Peanuts. So actually, no, I'm moving it from a B to an A, because that message should be given to children more. Is that life is disappointing and does not go the way you planned. You got to roll with the punches. You're going to miss a few footballs and land on your back every once in a while.
Yeah.
Life gives you rocks in your bag. That's what it is. But we still, every year, no matter what, get ourselves out there and wait for the Great Pumpkin, even though we know he doesn't exist, but we do it for us.
Yeah, it's definitely a big message of just like coming together and always being hopeful and never giving up. Never give up, never surrender.
You put it way more Galaxy Quest, love it. You put it way more eloquently than I just did. Mine was the rantings of a madman. But yes, I agree with your sentiment 100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited for you to do more of these spooky movie reviews with me. And I'm so excited that we got to start.
I can't wait for Signs. It's going to be good.
Signs is going to be amazing. I honestly, I can't wait. Oh my God. But thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm glad I never got to. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I got to see it. I never saw this growing up. I never saw any of the Peanuts stuff visually. Yeah. So, I'm glad I could do it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, tell everyone where they can find you, and shoot away.
You can find me at Walmart on Saturdays shopping. If you're in Greenville, Ohio, come on by. Yeah, that's about it. Discontinued the podcast. So yeah, I'm doing stand up here and there. If you're in the Ohio area, check out my Facebook.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, enjoy spooky season. And there's more to be seen. Thank you so much, everyone. And stay weird.